All right, kids, what I'm going to do here is, well, we're going to do some notes. This section 2.6 from a book is titled Formulas. It's also known as just literal equations. We're going to do a few sample problems and then I'm going to work through a worksheet quickly, but we'll discuss it a lot more in Zoom. So, example 1, A equals BXT, semicolon, X. This semicolon and the X on the right is not part of the equation. The equation is this thing on the left. What this semicolon means is we're going to solve this equation for X. All right? It means we have to get X by itself. And sometimes students freak out a little bit because, like, where are all the numbers? You know, watch this over here. If we had 10 equals 5x, what's happening to the x? It's being multiplied by 5. To get it by itself, you would undo that and divide by 5. No big deal, right? What's happening to the x right now? It's next to a b and a t. So it's being multiplied by b and t. So the opposite of multiplying by b and t is to divide by b and t. So a over bt equals x. We're actually done. X is by itself. In some ways, these things can be a little bit easier because there's not always as much arithmetic to do because there's not as many numbers. This one has numbers as well as multiple variables. Okay, we're going to solve for x. All right, no big deal. Move this over. What's different here, I mean, that's what you would always do, right? Is we don't know what q minus 6y is. So we just write q minus 6y equals 3x. Okay. Now, divide each term by 3. Q over 3 doesn't simplify, but 6 over 3 does. It becomes 2y. And there you go. See, it's not so bad. A over 4 equals m over y. We're going to solve this for y. So what we're solving for is in the denominator. So I'm hoping when you see this fraction equal a fraction, you think of cross multiplying. We want to get y by itself, so we divide by a. There we go. 4m over a. Example 4. 3 equals m. And we're going to solve this for m. Now, this one can be tricky. It ends up being easy, but a lot of times people see this m and they're just dying to distribute it. You actually don't have to because we're solving for m. What does it mean when m is next to this parentheses? It means you're multiplying by this n plus p, right? So the opposite of multiplying by n plus p is to divide by n plus p. And that just cancels out. And we have 3 over n plus p equals m. We're actually done. Okay? So I'm going to go to this worksheet now. And I want you to try as many of these as you can. I'm going to quickly talk through all of them, but you should stop me and try to do a bunch of them. And then you can start listening and going through this yourself. Okay? Solve for h. What's with the h? LW. So we get V over LW equals h. This next one can be tricky. It depends. You know, we want to solve for r, so we got to get rid of this little p first. So we have a minus little p equals PRT. What's happening to the r? It's being multiplied by PT, so we're going to divide everything by PT. Now this doesn't simplify at all. A over PT. Here, the P's cancel. But remember, where's the T? The T is down below. So be aware of that. Okay. That one's tricky. A lot of these aren't as bad. By equals what? C minus AX. Now what happens here? We have to divide by B. You notice how nothing simplifies here? If nothing simplifies, we can just write C minus AX all over B. That's an L, by the way. So P minus 2L. Now you got to be careful with this one. We want to get W by itself. We're going to divide each term by 2. You see, that cancels. P over 2 doesn't. So you have P over 2 minus L equals W. This one looks really ugly, but it's not. So check this out. Actually, the easiest way to probably do this is to cross multiply. Remember, there's an invisible 1 underneath this. So f times r squared equals m times gx, because 1 times that would just be the same thing. We want to get rid of the m and the g. So there you go. X is what? Fr squared over mg. Just so you guys know here, number 6, how you say this is x sub 3. This is x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3. Okay? They're different variables. Sometimes we just use that notation because we want to use the same letter, but it's actually different variables. So it's not the same. You can't combine these, is my point. I would get rid of this denominator first. Multiply both sides by 4. That cancels. So now you have 4a equals x sub 1, plus x sub 2 plus x sub 3. You want to subtract this. So remember, we have to subtract both of those things. So we get 4a minus x sub 1 minus x sub 2 equals x sub 3. And we're all set. Okay. If you had written 4a minus x sub 2 minus x sub 1 equals x sub 3, that's okay. That's the same thing. Oh, this one's simple. This is too easy for you guys. Solve for r. Just divide by p and t, right? So I over pt equals r. Okay, number 8. Whoops, it got scrolled a little bit too far away. We want to solve for y. That means we got to subtract this and we got to subtract that. But remember, we have to subtract it from this side as well. So it'll be 9 minus ax minus c. And then if we divide everything by 2, you're going to realize that any of these things over 2, none of it will cancel. So you can just do that. Divide by w, because you're getting that by itself. Getting z by itself, and we're all set. Okay. Again, what we're solving for is this h, which is in front of the parentheses. No need to distribute here. Let's get rid of this denominator. We'll multiply both sides by 2. That cancels. So we have 2a equals h times b1 plus b sub 2. We want to get h by itself, so we are going to divide. So we have 2a over b sub 1 plus b sub 2 And we're done. These can be tricky. No doubt about that. Okay, guys, be good.